Y'all ready? Okay, listen, right? Spice King think he better. Stay tuned for part 2. Yes, sir. Spice King, you're not better than me. Stay hot tackies. Stay for part 3. On game.
Lamont Freeman was allowed to be a 13-year-old for 27 minutes before gang violence ultimately took his life. Gang violence that was orchestrated by adults in our city. And cowardly acts of an Atlanta-based rapper that decided to go over into a rival gang stronghold and shoot a music video in a place that he knew he should not have been. And in the subsequent days, we saw homicides and shootings, and ultimately the deaths of 2 children as a result of his cowardly actions. And you know who you are. And I tell you that this team will work relentlessly to hold you and the persons that you are affiliated with responsible for those actions.
Those words, delivered by Atlanta Police Homicide Commander Ralph Woolfolk at a press conference, were aimed directly at one of hip-hop's biggest stars. And while the police never said his name out loud, arrest warrants would later reveal exactly who they were talking about. But the real question is this: how did a simple music video shoot spiral into a chain of violence that left 2 13-year-old boys dead at a birthday party? Before we get to that tragic night, let me take you back to May 14th, 2024, because that is where this entire deadly sequence began. On that spring afternoon in Atlanta's northwest side, a production crew had gathered on Verbena Street to film a music video. The artist at the center of that shoot was Dominique Jones, known to millions around the world as Lil Baby, one of the most successful rappers to emerge from Atlanta in the past decade. His albums have gone platinum, his collaborations with Drake and other superstars have racked up billions of streams. He was raised in the same Oakland City neighborhood that would later become the site of unimaginable tragedy. But according to Atlanta police, that music video location was not chosen at random. The 2100 block of Verbena Street sits squarely in territory controlled by a rival gang known as OMF, which stands for Only My Family, a violent subset of the larger Goodfellas criminal street organization. And the moment cameras started rolling on that block, police say Lil Baby was stepping into enemy territory, a move that would ignite a war. During that video shoot, gunfire erupted. 3 men in their 20s were struck in a drive-by attack, suffering wounds to the arm, back, and neck. All 3 survived, but the damage was done. Not to them physically, but to whatever fragile peace had existed between 2 of Atlanta's most dangerous street factions. On one side, 4PF, the group that police would later describe in warrants as a criminal street gang led by Lil Baby himself. On the other hand, OMF and the Goodfellas, one of the most hyper-violent gangs in the city of Atlanta, according to police. The conflict between these 2 groups was not new. It stretches back to at least August of 2021 when a 4PF associate named Marcus Big Mark Holland was killed. That murder planted the seeds for years of tension, but police say the music video shoot reignited everything, turning a boiling feud into an all-out gang war with deadly consequences. Within weeks of the May video shoot, the bodies started dropping. On June 29, 2024, OMF member Trevante Turner was murdered at Peyton Place in southwest Atlanta. Police believe this was a direct retaliation for the Verbena Street shooting, and now OMF wanted blood in return. According to arrest warrants obtained by investigators, the order for revenge came from behind prison walls. Queonte Sanders, known on the streets as Midnight, was a high-ranking OMF leader incarcerated at Hancock State Prison. Using an illegal contraband cell phone smuggled into the facility, Sanders allegedly coordinated a hit on members of Lil Baby's inner circle. The target was reportedly John Smith, known as J-Shot, a 4PF affiliate close to the rapper. But on the night they came looking for J-Shot, they found something far more innocent instead.
Y'all ready? This is part 2. Are y'all ready? Hot Takis. Stay for part 3. Oh, dang!
July 2nd, 2024, just after midnight, the Sparks Apartments on Sparks Southwest, deep in Atlanta's Oakland City neighborhood. A group of kids had gathered on the stoop of one of the units. They were not gang members or involved in any conflict. They were just children celebrating a birthday. That was Lamont Freeman, born in 2011, raised in those same apartments by his mother Michelle after his father passed away roughly 18 months earlier. His family described him as polite and bright, with a captivating smile and a vibrant personality. He loved dancing, riding his bike, and playing basketball. Lamont attended Finch Elementary and later Sylvan Hills Middle School, and on that July night, he had been alive as a 13-year-old for exactly 27 minutes when the gunfire started. Sitting next to Lamont was his best friend, Jacody Davis, who was also 13 years old. He had just celebrated his own birthday on June 28th, just days before. Jacody lived nearby in the West End apartments with his father and his 11-year-old brother Dontavius, who everyone called DJ. The two brothers had walked over that night to wish Lamont a happy birthday and had no idea what was coming. According to police, 6 armed suspects arrived in 2 vehicles, a white Nissan Maxima and a gray Nissan sedan. They parked on the opposite side of the apartment complex, walked through a cut between buildings, and opened fire. The shell casings recovered from the scene told a terrifying story. 5.56 millimeter rounds, 7.62 millimeter rounds, .223 caliber, military-style ammunition sprayed into an apartment complex where children were celebrating a birthday. Ballistics testing would later link these casings to weapons used in other gang-related shootings across the city. Lamont Freeman was struck in the head. He died right there on the stoop where he had been laughing with his friends moments earlier. Jacody Davis took a round to the chest. He was rushed to Eggleston Hospital but could not be saved. His little brother, DJ, was hit in the foot. He would survive, but the bullet nearly destroyed his right foot, requiring multiple surgeries and leaving him facing a long road to recovery. And here's the part that makes this tragedy even more devastating. Police say these children were never the intended targets.
We do believe that the 3 juveniles, 2 who were killed, 1 who was injured, they were just outside on the steps celebrating a birthday party. We don't believe that they were the intended targets of that gunfire. But these individuals that we have shown indiscriminately opened fire on that apartment complex, resulting in these 3 children getting injured and killed.
The aftermath of that July 2nd shooting was very shocking. And within hours, video evidence captured by residents showed community members pouring out of their apartments, attempting to triage wounds, attempting to transport the injured to hospitals, and making multiple 911 calls. But for Lamont Freeman and Jacody Davis, it was already too late. For months, Atlanta investigators worked the case relentlessly. The homicide unit, the gang unit, intelligence analysts, the district attorney's office, and the FBI all poured resources into finding the killers. Major Ralph Woolfolk would later reveal that his team sacrificed vacations, sacrificed time with loved ones, sacrificed relationships during the investigation. Over the 4th of July weekend, just days after the murders, detectives requested authorization to begin a wiretap investigation. Within 48 hours, they had coordinated with the DA to get it approved. What followed was a massive surveillance operation. From July 10th through October 30th of 2024, the Atlanta Police Gang Unit logged 5,424 man-hours monitoring wire rooms, analyzing intercepted communications, and building a case against those responsible. They recovered the white Nissan Maxima used in the attack on August 21, 2024, finding it abandoned in a parking deck on Drew Drive. Forensic analysis linked it directly to the crime scene. Meanwhile, the families of the victims were left to bury their children. Jacody Davis's funeral was held on July 15, 2024, at West Hunter Street Baptist Church. Mourners filled the pews, many of them struggling to understand how two boys with no gang involvement, criminal history, and enemies could be caught in such senseless violence. Lamont Freeman's aunt, Maya Freeman, organized a GoFundMe campaign to help Michelle Freeman cover funeral costs while grieving the loss of her oldest child. Community leaders demanded answers, and a $50,000 reward was announced for information leading to the arrest of the shooters. Pastor Darrell Winston joined other faith leaders in calling for change.
And there is now a $50,000 reward to find the person responsible for shooting and killing Jacody Davis and Lamont Freeman earlier this week. They had both just turned 13 years old. And now local community and faith leaders, including Pastor Darrell Winston, are renewing calls for change.
No life is expendable, and there are no communities that should have to contend with this day in and day out.
Yeah, there's a community-based effort and a 10-point plan to address the gun violence in our community. Leaders plan to host a roundtable next week.
Police would eventually provide their answer, and it pointed directly at one of Atlanta's biggest celebrities. The investigation revealed that this shooting was part of a coordinated revenge plot orchestrated from inside a state prison. Queante Midnight, the incarcerated OMF leader, had allegedly used contraband cell phones to communicate with gang members on the outside. Intercepted messages showed instructions to destroy evidence, including shoes and social media posts. One of those instructions was directed at Richard, or RJ Hollis, one of the suspects who would later be arrested. But the wiretaps revealed something else too. Sanders had allegedly hatched a scheme to extort Lil Baby for $5 million, leveraging the violence and the rapper's alleged involvement in the gang feud. It was a window into just how deeply intertwined the worlds of Atlanta hip-hop and street crime had become. On February 26, 2025, Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum stepped before the media to announce a major break in the case. 7 individuals were taken into custody, all of them connected to OMF and the Goodfellas gang. They faced charges including murder, gang activity, and evidence tampering. The suspects included Queante Sanders, Richard R.J. Hollis, Reginald Yano Thomas, Takethion or J-Man Mobley, Marcus Crawford, Tradon Crawford, and Ali or Lee Caldwell. 2 of them, Marcus and Tradon, were Crawfords, suggesting a family history of gang involvement.
So right now we're going to show some images of the individuals that we have made arrests on. So 5 of these individuals we already had in custody, we had arrested. Some of them were in jail on previous charges not related to this. So once we established...
And for the investigation aspect of this, Lamont Freeman was allowed to be a 13-year-old for 27 minutes. Before gang violence ultimately took his life. Gang violence that was orchestrated by adults in our city. And cowardly acts of an Atlanta-based rapper that decided to go over into a rival gang stronghold and shoot a music video in a place that he knew he should not have been. And in the subsequent days, we saw homicides and shootings, and ultimately the deaths of 2 children as a result of his cowardly actions. And you know who you are. And I tell you that this team will work relentlessly to hold you and the persons that you are affiliated with responsible for those actions. Ultimately, there are components of this investigation that led back to a prison in the state of Georgia where an illegal phone, a contraband phone, was used to orchestrate these acts. There was a hit called by a high-ranking gang member on the opposite side of that opposing rapper's gang. And I'll tell you today, that gang was Goodfellas. Goodfellas Criminal Street Gang being one of the most hyper-violent gangs in the city of Atlanta. And we will pursue you relentlessly in making sure that we keep this city safe and suppressing violence throughout our city. And lastly, I'll say, as Major Malecki indicated, there is still a $50,000 reward that is on the table for additional information in relationship to this case. And our detectives and our officers, through all of the internal units and external units that you see here today, will be knocking on doors and working with this community that has been so resilient to collect additional information to continue to move this investigation forward. Thank you.
Morning, huge steps toward justice for the parents of Atlanta teenagers who were killed nearly a year ago.
These kids were innocent victims.
Police arrested more than a half dozen suspects connected to this case. And while they didn't name rapper Lil Baby, whose given name is Dominique Jones, the arrest warrant does mention him. As Atlanta News First Madeline Montgomery reports, police say they're working to make sure he's brought to justice in this case.
He got to experience about 30 minutes of being a teenager before his life was taken.
Since July of last year, Atlanta police and the FBI have been seeking justice in the deaths of 13-year-olds Lamont Freeman and Jacody Davis.
They were celebrating a birthday party when gang violence and gun violence found its way to Spark Street.
Davis's 12-year-old brother was shot and injured as well. 8 months later, 7 arrests have been made.
Mr. Sanders, Richard Hollis, Reginald Thomas.
But there's one person police still want to hold accountable.
Cowardly acts of an Atlanta-based rapper that decided to go over into a rival gang stronghold and shoot a music video in a place that he knew he should not have been.
Although they didn't name him at today's news conference, arrest warrants disclosed Dominique Jones, aka Lil Baby, is the rapper Atlanta police still have their eye on.
And I tell you that this team will work relentlessly to hold you and the persons that you are affiliated with responsible.
Madeline Montgomery, Atlanta News First.
The message was unmistakable. In Woolfolk's view, this was not just a gang shooting. This was the direct result of a famous rapper making a reckless decision to film in territory he knew was controlled by enemies. And when reporters later obtained the arrest warrants, there it was in black and white. Dominique Jones, also known as Lil Baby, named as the leader of 4PF and connected to the sequence of violence that killed 2 children. The story dominated headlines. Social media exploded with debate, and Lil Baby himself could not remain silent. The response from Lil Baby's camp came swiftly and forcefully. On February 27, 2025, just one day after the police press conference, the rapper took to Instagram stories to address the allegations directly. His message to fans was brief but pointed. "Thanks for all the concerns. Please don't be misinformed by fake news. I'm overly good." He urged his followers not to believe what they were hearing, dismissing the police allegations as sensationalized reporting designed to damage his reputation. But the following day brought a much more detailed response. Lil Baby's attorneys, Drew Findling and Marissa Goldberg of the Findling Law Firm, issued a comprehensive statement to media outlets including TMZ, Billboard, and Fox 5 Atlanta. They did not hold back. The part of the press conference on Wednesday by the Atlanta Police Department that made an obvious reference to Dominique Jones was complete and total nonsense, the statement read. To say that he couldn't shoot a music video in his hometown, a place that he loves and has continued to uplift, is disgraceful. The lawyers went on to argue that music video locations are chosen by professional production teams, not by individual artists, suggesting that blaming Lil Baby for where cameras rolled was fundamentally unfair. They called the police's public implications unprofessional, unethical, and shameful, and emphasized that their client had absolutely no involvement in the shooting deaths. Perhaps most notably, the statement addressed the victims directly. Dominique is devastated about the situation because those children came from the same neighborhood he did, the lawyers wrote, and he will continue to build up his community in any way he can. And there is some merit to that argument. Despite the strong language from Atlanta police, no charges have been filed against Lil Baby in connection with the shootings. Legal experts interviewed by outlets like The Fader have noted that prosecuting someone for simply filming a music video in a certain location would be extraordinarily difficult. Former Atlanta prosecutor Melissa Redman pointed out that proving criminal intent would require far more than showing that violence followed the video shoot. But the damage to Lil Baby's reputation may already be done. The connection between 4PF and gang activity has followed him for years. Georgia Bureau of Investigation documents leaked in 2022 identified 4PF as a street gang, putting Lil Baby on law enforcement's radar long before the July shootings. In response to mounting scrutiny, he rebranded the label as Glass Window Entertainment in late 2024, a move many interpreted as an attempt to distance himself from gang allegations and avoid potential RICO charges similar to those that ensnared Young Thug and YSL Records. The similarities to the YSL case are impossible to ignore. In that prosecution, authorities alleged that the record label was actually a criminal enterprise operating under the guise of a music business. Young Thug, whose legal name is Jeffrey Williams, faced years of legal battles, and while Lil Baby has not been indicted on similar charges, the specter of RICO prosecution has loomed over 4PF for years. Social media reactions to the Lil Baby allegations have been mixed. Some defenders argue that 4PF is simply a record label slogan meaning 4 pockets full of money, not a real gang. Others point to the rapper's philanthropy and community involvement as evidence that he has moved beyond his past. Some, however, note that regardless of intent, the violence that followed the music video shoot cost 2 children their lives. As of today, the case against the 7 arrested suspects continues to work its way through the courts. Preliminary hearings were held in April 2025, with gang detectives testifying about wiretap evidence, social media analysis, and ballistics linking the suspects to the crime. A delay in March 2025 pushed proceedings forward, but no trial date has been publicly announced. The $50,000 reward for additional information remains active. For the families of Lamont Freeman and Jacody Davis, the legal process offers little comfort. Their boys are still gone. Michelle Freeman lost her oldest child just 27 minutes after he became a teenager. Dontavius Davis Sr. buried one son while watching another recover from gunshot wounds. And DJ, the 11-year-old survivor, will carry the physical and emotional scars of that night for the rest of his life. The story of what happened on Spark Street raises difficult questions about accountability, about the intersection of hip-hop culture and street violence, and about who bears responsibility when gang conflicts spill over onto innocent bystanders. Atlanta police believe they know who set these events in motion. Lil Baby insists he did nothing wrong, and somewhere between those two positions lie 2 boys who never got the chance to grow up.
Y'all ready? Okay, listen, right? Spice King think he better. Stay tuned for part 2. Yes, sir. Spice King, you're not better than me.
What do you think about this case? Do you think Lil Baby needs to be arrested? Let me know what your point of view is in the comments section. Click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this.